My parents, my parents were more of like, why are you, leaving journalism and mass communication where you are well known and switching to mental health? Like, what is the need? They had genuine concerns. And I gave a thought to the suggestions they were making. But the truth is this, I was convicted deeply within me that I needed to help people beyond just giving them news reports, beyond just reporting about what has happened, beyond just advertising the goods of a company. I wanted to impact people way beyond just telling them about what's happening or telling them what they should do or changing consumer behavior. I wanted to be able to be actively involved in the development and the wholesome process of helping people recover from pain. I wanted to be a development expert in the area of emotions and psychology. And even when I didn't get the support that I needed, I never stopped. Even when a lot of people got to me and said they are not sure that I'm going to make it, I never stopped. And this proves my thesis that if everybody says you can't and you believe you can do it. I know the need for us to get approval from every other person, but there are seasons in your life where it will need your courage to keep you going. And that is what I experienced as a person. And so when I'm talking about healing from hard wounds, receiving inner healing, testament. I am a testament of intentionally putting intentionality into working on my wellness, body, soul, and spirit. Okay. Now, you may be asking, how do I recognize the need for healing? How do I know that I may have emotional or hard wounds that I need to heal from? The very first way that you can recognize emotional or hard wounds that you need to heal from is first, do you experience persistent negative emotions? Do you? If you realize that you have consistent negative emotions, you experience intense and reoccurring emotions like sadness, anger, fear, panic, all of these things that either make you not to be productive in your day-to-day functioning, it may be a sign that you have unhealed wounds that are still present in your life. The second, relationship challenges. Are you having difficulties maintaining, keywords, healthy relationships? I'll say it again. Relationship challenges is the very first step to recognize that you need healing. So, not just any kind of relationship, but do you find yourself facing a difficulty in maintaining healthy relationships characterized by unhealthy relationship dynamics such as repeated betrayals, repeated trust issues, repeated violence, repeated you self-sabotaging in a relationship? So if you find yourself in a relationship where you constantly have to let go of your dream to make this other person feel loved and approved, if you find yourself constantly being in a relationship where you feel the undying urge to walk on eggshells around this person or to constantly make excuses for the people you may be in a relationship with. And this goes both ways. In a family relationship, be it friendships or work relationships, or even when it comes to relationships with your romantic partner. If you constantly find yourself walking on eggshells, you constantly find yourself making excuses for these people, if you constantly find yourself feeling excessive fear Maybe because they caused it, or maybe because this fear is within you. This is an indication for you to recognize the need for healing. The first one I spoke about was persistent negative emotions. The second one is relationship challenges. Now, the third way that you can recognize that you need healing is lack of self-worth. Over the years of me working with clients, with my highest clients that I've worked with being 65 years of age, I recognize that we all have shared human experience. And no matter how old we become, we all have the same human needs. And when these needs go unmet, these are the needs that form our thought and behavioral patterns. And so, if you find yourself having persistent feelings of unworthiness, feeling like you don't deserve love, feeling like you are not good enough, having excessive self doubt, feeling like your own strength is not enough and every other person is worth more than you are, this tells you that there is a need for you to pursue healing. Remember the story I shared about my parents not, giving me the support I needed, but because I had the reservation within myself to push, I pulled through. I pulled through. This is 5 years of me running Ziba mental health counseling and consultation. And a few months ago, my dad came visiting and asked me to give him my company t-shirt. And I was just filled with laughter. I was like, 5 years ago, you would have told me that I was making the biggest mistake of my life. And 5 years later, you are asking to put on my company t-shirt so you could show it to your friends. That is because I had the reservation from within. And that is why when Mr. Sam was talking about my favorite mantra, who says, it is within you that bliss is found, is because that is the encapsulation of my entire being. That is the entire encapsulation of my life experiences. Even if the world saw it impossible, and I, in my mind and in my heart, believed that it was possible, it always ended in praise. So if you do not have this type of mindset and you constantly feel like you are unworthy, it's a need for you to recognize that you need healing. You need to work on that. You need to gain wholeness and start being comfortable in your own skin. If you also recognize that you have a deep longing for personal growth, which is desire for change. You have a deep longing for a sense of fulfillment, like in everything you are doing. It could be that you're making money. It could be that your job is beautiful, but you just can't find fulfillment. You just can't find joy. You just can't find happiness. This is an indication that you need to break free from a self-limiting belief in order to find motivation, true, authentic, genuine motivation to take on your life journey with true inspiration and power. So I'll do a synopsis of how to recognize that you need inner healing. The first one is if you recognize that you have persistent negative emotions. The second one, if you have relationship, constant unhealthy relationship challenges. The third one is if you as a person has lack of self-worth. And the last one that I just mentioned is you lack a sense of fulfillment and you desire to change. This is an indication for you to know that you need to pursue inner healing. Now, how do we go from here? How do we go from I recognize that I need inner healing? How do I let go of the past? How do I start a new page? How do I know that I am on the planet at this point in history because I am valuable? How do I go from I am unworthy to I am grateful for being me? How do you go from saying that nobody loves me to I love me and people love me? I'm going to give us three main ways that we can let go of the past and pursue inner healing. Now, I'll begin with a very simple story from my life. So during my one of my therapy sessions early this year, I had a client that came in that lost a pregnancy. And so she was so bitter, and her husband was so worried because she was spiraling into depression. And trust me, no good husband, his wife experienced so much hurt from the loss of a baby. And so after the miscarriage, she would not even take her bath. She would not even eat. She would not even, move as much as a muscle to go take her. She would do nothing. She would just lay in bed every day, crying and crying. Her husband would come and, clean her up and force her to eat. And then when he felt like he didn't have the emotional capacity to keep supporting her, he started therapy. And when they came in for therapy and she was sharing and she made a mention of something that I think many of us say it in our daily life. She said, nobody, I'll repeat it again. She says, nobody understands how I feel. Evidently, that should be true. That nobody understands what she's going through. She's the mom, she has the miscarriage. True. Nobody understands the depth of the pain she's feeling in her heart. But her husband does. Even though he didn't carry the child, he does. And he cares for her. And also, looking at a wider spectrum, other women that have lost children do understand how she feels. And this got me thinking that sometimes we do not know how much help and support is available to us because we feel nobody would understand. How does it relate to how coming into my session and how does it relate with letting go of the past and embracing inner healing? The very first thing that happens is she needed to acknowledge that that feeling was hurtful. Two, she needed to be honest about how she was feeling, and she needed to be open to receive help. Do you see? So, how do you let go of your past and embrace inner healing? The first thing is acknowledging. Acknowledge the steps. Acknowledge that your heart is wounded. Acknowledge that you have experienced something that is truly, truly painful. Acknowledge that in all honesty, stop trying to intellectualize it. Like, oh, I know that I went through this. Experience it all over again and change your reaction towards it. So your reaction towards everything that happened was you going to survival mode and shutting everybody out. In this acknowledgement stage, what I will need you to do is open up instead of shutting yourself up, open up yourself to feeling the emotions and accepting that you were hurt. In all honesty, self-reflect. Why did this thing hurt me? How did it hurt me? What am I willing to do to get out of here? Self-reflect and then confront those painful memories. The second way to let go of the past and pursue inner healing, accepting. Once that lady client of mine accepted and acknowledged that that pain she was feeling was so painful, but there was a way for her to live beyond the pain she has just experienced, which is the miscarriage pain. What happened to her was she had renewed hope for living. She had renewed hope to engage in exercises and strategies and new strategies that would help her regain a newer perspective towards life and not just reminiscence on the loss of her child. So when we are able to accept, first when we have acknowledged and we are able to accept that yes, we were hurt, and we actively, without judgment, without blaming ourselves, open up our hearts to receive healing, we grow. So you acknowledge, you accept, without blaming yourself, without being judgmental, without being your worst critic. No, just accept that you have been hurt and you need healing. This opens up your heart to the possibilities of better things. And then the third way to pursue and open your heart up to receive inner healing is releasing. Woo! Why I started woo is because some people can stay on this stage for years and it's okay. Our our inner healing journey is not the same. Our journey to wellness and wholeness is not the same. For some people, it will take months. For some people, it's going to take years. And we all have to acknowledge our shared human experiences. What we have experienced, we are not the first people to experience it. Yet, our experiences are unique to us. But we have to open our minds to know that we are not the first and we will not be the last. This is what gives us renewed hope to pursue life with renewed perspective. On the releasing stage, this is what my client did. She asked me how I knew that, or why I mentioned that I didn't appreciate, or it was not rather appreciating, why I had noted, because I noted it and I gave her a card. And I said, reframe. I said, reframe this sentence, nobody understands. Remember during the first session, like I said, she said, nobody understands. And so as we progressed in therapy months after, she asked me and why I had asked her to reframe the sentence, nobody understands. And the reason I had told her to reframe the sentence, nobody understands, is because the sentences and the words we say to ourselves has a way of redefining and shaping our perspective towards life. Guess what she reframed the sentence to look like? She reframed the sentence to say, I acknowledge that I am in pain. I acknowledge that I may not make the best decisions in this pain. And I acknowledge that I have support available to me. And I acknowledge that because of this pain, I may not be open to receiving, but indeed, I have the best kind of support possible. Do you see the switch? From nobody understands to her acknowledging that yes, she's pain, to her acknowledging that there is help available, even though she intentionally denied the help. And the last thing that she wrote in bold is, I am willing to pursue this journey of healing, and I am willing to know that there is hope and there is healing. This is what I just explained with my client's story. But the releasing part of letting go of our hurt and pursue.
Okay.
Somebody's mic is on. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Now, there was something I said when I said I heaved and I laughed, and I spoke about the releasing part of this journey of inner healing. The releasing part, like I said, it's always difficult because most of us find it difficult to forgive. Most of us find it difficult to forgive and pursue healing. To be honest, the journey of inner healing is as difficult as the formation of our heart wound. The journey towards inner healing is as difficult but worthy as compared to the journey of the formation of our heart wound. My last story disclosure. In 2019, a year after I got married, I was pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl. My pregnancy was well advanced. I was 6.5 months going to 7 months, and I started bleeding. I hated God. We are being honest. Remember, I said heart wounds could be emotional, psychological, and spiritual. I hated God. It was almost like Job's wife asking Job in the Bible to curse God and die. I was pained. I was pained. I was like, God, why would you let this happen to me? Why would you let this happen to me? I kept saying that. And over like few weeks later, I lost the 6 months and 6.5 months, 7 month pregnancy. I bled. I bled so bad. And I was pained. And I entered a space where we call in psychology survival mode and dissociation, where I'll literally be looking at you, or but I'm not here. So somebody says, some people call it space out. I spaced out. Like my body is here, but I'm literally not here. I cannot hear what is being said to me. I could do nothing. I could simply just zone out and just look at the TV, but I'm not there. You will wave your hands and I'm not seeing. And then you have to tap me really hard for me to jet back into reality. I constantly dissociated from myself for months. I was resentful towards God. I was resentful towards the doctors. I was so angered. I was so frustrated, so pained, and at the same time craving for hope. But I couldn't find it because I wasn't accepting that was given to me at that time. Guess what happened? My husband, he will bathe me, he will clothe me, he will feed me. And then when he's done, when I'm lying there, dissociated again and carefree, and I'm just like this, he will come to me and he'll reaffirm me and he'll reaffirm me. At the state that I was, whatever he was doing did not concern me. Does it tie to what we just learned about my client? There was help available, but she wasn't receiving that help because at that point, she couldn't see the possibilities because her heart was pained, her heart was sore. And yet, that's why one of the impacts of heart wounds is that it affects our relationship. It makes us self-sabotage. It makes us do a whole lot of things. And in that period, that's how I was. But guess what? I got better and I trusted God more. In 2022, I got pregnant and I gave birth December of 2022. Don't rejoice yet. I lost my child last year, January. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I lost my daughter that I was pregnant with in 2022, last year, January. But you know the most amazing thing is I never experienced dissociation again. I never lost hope again. I never had the amount of scarring and pain I had in 2019. Rather, in 2023, I felt peace and I don't know how. It may seem strange or weird, but I felt peace and I felt like there is hope and there is healing. And that's why I mentioned in the beginning, I said when I'm talking inner healing, it is very special to me because I know that no wound can stay unhealed when we are intentional to receive healing. When she died January of 2023, being barely 1 month and 3 days old, 1 month and 4 days old, the next day when I carried her to my husband's compound, family compound, traveled for the burial to go bury her. The only thing that was in my heart was when he like a river, I stand at my way. When sorrow like sea below flow,
Whatever,
whatever
my Lord,
thou
thou
hast
hast
done,
done me to
say
say,
it
it
is
is
It is well,
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 it
it
is
is
well
well with
with my soul.
and that was
It
the
is
only thing I
well.
had in my heart. From last year to this year, that's the only thing I had in my heart. And let my story be a testament that there is no inner wound, there is no worth of people that have the power over you. healing is possible. Compare the two stories. 2019, I was in deep emotional pain. 2023, I know there is hope and healing. Inner healing is possible. From 2019 to 2023, I heard things like, oh, because I lost children, doesn't mean that I can't give birth again. Oh, I'm barren. Oh, I'm Sarah. Oh, I'm this. I heard all of those things. I should still experience hard wounds because why not? Why not? I should be afraid of the fact that people are going to say these things again to me. But no. Remember my story of when my parents didn't believe, but I believe, and it's working. At the end of the day, you have to make yourself happy, and every other person around you makes you happier. Every other person should add to the value you already have inside you. Because when they bring the value that you do not accept, trust me, you reject it. But when they add to the value that you have, it becomes premium and it becomes beautiful. There is hope and there is healing. And in everything you do, it should begin in you, overflow from you onto others. I'll say it again, even slowly. It has to begin in and with you, overflow from the abundance of you onto others. And that's how I know that inner healing is possible from all heart wounds, all emotional, spiritual, and psychological wounds. Healing is possible. And now, after we have spoken about you acknowledging that you've experienced this and accepting and then releasing, like I said, it could take a long while for other people. How can forgiveness be a path to inner healing? I know you may be wondering why I shared my story. And remember, I mentioned without shame that I was angry with God and I questioned Him. I was angry. But forgiveness as a path to healing simply lets us know that despite the challenges we have, it is our perspective towards it that matters. Something terrible may happen, but because my perspective towards it is light and not darkness, it may seem weird to other people, but trust me, that can help you. Quick example. Forgiveness helps us cultivate a sense of peace. Forgiveness helps us let go of the shame and the guilt and the self-blame and embrace inherent worthiness. So how is forgiveness then a part of our healing? When I stopped blaming myself for the things that I felt like I didn't do that caused me to miscarry my twins in 2019, I started receiving peace. When I started extending forgiveness to the nurses and doctors for the mistakes they made that caused it, despite how painful it was, when I released them from my heart, the pain I had carried, that was like a baggage in my heart, that was deeply profound and seated on my heart, the pain started going. And forgiveness is not a day's journey. Forgiveness is not a one side, it's not a straight road. Forgiveness is like this. It's a thorny part, but a super necessary part. And the last thing that I know not everybody may agree with me, when I released God from my case, I said not everybody's gonna agree with me. When I released God from my case, you know what that simply means? When I decided to no longer be angry with God, that was when, like this song says, that like a baby in the arms of the mother, my life is in your hands. My life is in your hands. Lord, I'm safe in your hands. When I released the anger I had towards God, that was when I felt an unquenchable peace and I no longer dissociated. Anger and pain and rejection and all of these emotional and psychological and spiritual wounds, maybe from church hurt, from the things the people in church said, from the things family said, from the things friends said, all of these things are just baggages that we carry. Mom and dad were not there, or even if they were, they rejected you. You were not the favorite child. In school, they bullied you, they called you names, or even if you bullied them, but you knew that that is not who you are. You're not a bully. And that's why I inherently believe that bad, wicked people or bad people, like we call them, are not born. They are made. But if they are made, it means there's a possibility for them to be remade with the help of inner healing. And as I'm speaking to you right now, I am sure, without an iota of doubt, that hope and healing is what is going to help you thrive and be productive and fruitful in all your endeavors, in all your works of life as a father, as a big sister, as a mother, as a child, as as whatever facet of society you are in. It is only wellness from within us that can overflow into all the facets to make us better, responsible citizens and adults and make the world better. Forgiveness is hard, but for you to know that you're truly forgiving is when you can look back at the challenges you face. It's when you can look back at the negative things you experience. It's when you can look back at the things that you felt were mistakes. It's when you can look back at the pains that people caused you and be grateful that that is your story because they all mounted up to where you are now. I would not speak inner healing with such conviction if I've not understood first what grief, trauma, and loss is. I know it firsthand. And this is just a quarter tip of my story of loss and grief. I gave you the most recent. But when I'm talking about hope and healing, I am an epitome of it. There is hope and there is healing. And I'm speaking to our hearts right now that there is hope and there is healing. Give yourself a chance to heal. Give yourself a chance to feel better. Forgiveness has a transformative power. It can transform our perspective. It can open our heart and pave the way for our personal growth and spiritual reawakening. So what am I saying? I'm saying forgiveness has a transformative power that can transform our perspective, open up our heart, and pave the way for our personal growth and spiritual reawakening. Now, apart from forgiveness and accepting and acknowledging and releasing, what other ways can we adequately heal our heart? We need to cultivate self-compassion. Cultivate self-compassion. And what does it look like to cultivate self-compassion? It's accepting yourself. There will never be a you. There will never be a Samuel. There will never be an Alice that is like you. There are going to be 1 million, 1 billion people called Alice, but all of them will never be you. So accept yourself. Honor your work, regardless of your perceived flaw, regardless of your past experiences. Open up your heart and accept yourself. See yourself as worthy. The next way to cultivate self-compassion after self-acceptance, the second way is self-kindness. When was the last time you were kind to yourself? I mean, genuinely kind to yourself. I'm not saying you passed to buy a treat for your children and then you bought one for yourself. I'm saying you were intentional with being kind to yourself. Treat yourself the same way you would want to be treated. So instead of complaining like these people do not treat me the way I want to be treated, start treating yourself the way you want to be treated. Understand that as much as you extend love to your loved ones in their difficult times, be your loved one and extend that love you extend to your loved one in the difficult times, extend it to yourself. And the third way that you can cultivate self-compassion, apart from self-acceptance and self-kindness, is mindfulness. Mindfulness simply means your ability to be present with your thoughts and your emotions without judgment. Now, how did mindfulness help me when I lost my daughter last year? Stella, how are you thinking? What are your thoughts in this moment? I thought about those things and I wrote them down. So mindfulness and journaling can go hand in glove. I wrote them down. How am I feeling? I wrote them down. And I never judged myself for feeling this way. Sometimes the reason we cannot open our hearts to healing is because we judge our thoughts, we judge our emotions. You can think something, feel something, acknowledge it, and not do it. When you fight it, it comes and comes and comes again. When you know that thoughts are fleeting, emotions are fleeting, but they do not define you, that is when you have become mindful. Remember, mindfulness is your ability to be present with your thoughts, emotions without judgment, and it can help you create clarity and self awareness. What caused you to feel this way? That's self awareness. What did I hear before I felt this way? What did I see that caused me to think these things? That's mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you reflect and gain clarity. And in gaining clarity, that births self awareness. So, apart from forgiveness, another way for you to pursue inner healing is cultivate self compassion through these three ways: self acceptance, self kindness, and mindfulness. Now, another way for you to embrace inner healing is to embrace vulnerability. Most Africans I know do not want to accept, do not even want to feel like they should be weak. In my weakness, you are merciful. We have our strengths and we have our weaknesses. And embracing vulnerability simply means we have the courage to accept our authenticity and our strengths. We are also opening up ourselves for corrections and connections. If I know that I'm a great public speaker and I'm not a great evaluator, monitoring, planning, and evaluator, I will simply get a person that can be my assistant that is has a skill in these things. Vulnerability simply means that you actually acknowledging your humanity. If I cry, I'm being vulnerable. And I'm human. Humans cry. Being a human is not a function of gender. Being a human means from the onset, we are humans in humanity. So if I'm human, be me being a man or a woman, it's okay for me to cry and not feel weak for crying. Even if I do not cry in front of everybody, it's okay for me to have a time where I cry and I relax myself. Crying is waste. That's why when you cry, after that you feel so relaxed and so good, and the next thing is to sleep. Let yourself be vulnerable to the right people and to yourself, even if you do not want to show your vulnerability to everybody. But vulnerability is bliss. Vulnerability is bliss. Now, from every long thing that I have said, what are some ways, very practical ways, that you can pursue inner healing without the help of a therapist, without the help of people like us therapists? The very first way is journaling. Journaling has helped me in so many ways. Like I said, reflect on my thoughts, reflect on my emotions, reflect on my day-to-day experiences. Imagine a simple journal from that says, what is the thing you like most about your city? Trust me, many of us may not even know because we are not mindful enough in the places where we are. Journaling helps you clear your head and allows you channel your inner voice on paper. So practical strategies for you to receive or get to a place of inner healing. Journal. Number two, meditations. Meditation helps us build more mindfulness and deepens our understanding about ourselves. Imagine that you say you want to meditate about love, what it means to love yourself and accept yourself. And you start, okay, what does it mean for me to love myself? How can I show up for myself physically? How can I show up for myself emotionally? How can I show up for myself professionally? How can I show up for myself? How can I show up for myself? And I should keep meditating on those things. Different ways to be popping up. When was the last time you went to do your hair? When was the last time maybe you bought a 50 naira drink for yourself? When was the last time you did pedicure? When was the last time you rested, you slept without feeling like rest for lazy people? When was the last time you completed your work and managed your time effectively so that you could have enough time to rest? That's what meditation does for you. I said apart from therapy, though therapy is still on my list. If you find it difficult to do all of these things, journal and meditate and pursue forgiveness and be vulnerable, you can get the help of a trained professional who would journey with you to navigate your healing process. You could also do breath work. Breath work simply means you taking deep breaths so as to calm down your emotions and your thoughts. We call them breath work. Breath work or deep breathing is correct. You could also do what we call creative expression. Like some people, when they are angry, they sing. Some people, when they are angry, they paint, which is art. Some people, when they are angry, they start doing so many creative things. So find what creative outlet you use to pursue wellness and do it. When I feel bored, I sing. When I feel uncomfortable, I sing. When I feel stressed, I do the breath work and then I burst out into song and I feel calm. Even if the thoughts were rolling all over my head, I feel calm. I feel centered in myself. And I'm not going to leave this one out. Have safe relationships. It's not enough for us to have people that we love. It's not enough for us to have people that we love. It's enough for us to have people we love and who love us in return. Because you can't give what you don't have. So when you learn to feel yourself and you're giving out, you need other people that will pour into you. So learn how to practically journal, learn how to meditate, learn how to use creative expressions like music, writing, art, and all of those things to express yourself. Seek therapy, learn how to do breath work or deep breathing, learn how to be vulnerable. And above all, if you believe in God, if you believe in God, believe it when He says that you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a peculiar people, or believe it and accept it and live in that reality that you are a son, and you can go about manifesting the beauty of the kingdom in you. To end everything I've been saying from when I began my presentation to now is this: that the journey of inner healing is a very deep, personal, and transformative journey. And it requires courage. Trust me. It requires self-compassion because when you fail, you will need to be compassionate towards yourself. And it needs the willingness and intentionality to confront the hard wounds that have shaped your life for so long. And by embracing the strategies that I've shared, it's going to lead you to a path of self-discovery and help you release the emotional burdens of the past and ultimately help you build a sense of worth, a sense of esteem, a sense of purpose, a sense of inner peace, and a sense of control. The journey is not an easy one. It's not easy. I will tell you for free. It's not easy. But the rewards are immensely beautiful because you will learn how to build stronger relationships with yourself first, stronger relationship with other people. You will learn how to connect to your true authentic self and know that you are truly invaluable. So from me to you is that it is within you that bliss is found. You have the power to take back your power from all the negative thoughts. You have the power to regain transformation. You have the power to be productive and fruitful in everything you put your hands to do. Do not try to use work as a coping mechanism. Use healthy coping mechanisms like journaling, meditation, and gain wellness in yourself so that this wellness in your being will spill over to other places in your life. I am rooting for you, and never forget to keep unveiling your uniqueness because it is within you that bliss is found. Thank you very much, LBD. I'm open for questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Stella. Thank you so much. I see this question was just faster. Sincerely, was a faster question. But I sincerely, I myself am transformed. I'm not
Wow.
expecting
Hmm.
you. There will be room for questions. So can we just Stella, thank you by using the emoji and using the passport. We know our tradition in LBD that you have made. Stella, we appreciate you sincerely. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we'll just take a few questions, like 3, 2, or 4 questions maximum. So if you know you have a question, kindly raise your hand. I think I have one person here. Several, please, you can go ahead for the question.
Sorry. Mine is not a question. I just want to say a big thank you to the organizers and also a big thank you to Lady Stella. I can relate to all that you've just said. And I'm so glad when our founder, Lady Veronica, shared this link with me. I said to her, I am attending because the rest of this year, which is September, October, November, December, I said to myself last month, is going to be my year of gratitude. The rest of the month, that's all I'm going to do because I think I've been through so much that I've never had a time to just stop and just count all the little things that I have. I lost my career that I built over 11 years through an accident at work while 7 months pregnant. But I'm grateful that I gave birth to a natural, like I had a natural birth, even though they planned for cesarean. So it's something huge, even though I lost my whole career, it's something huge to be grateful for. As if that is enough. I was really ill. And, I was sharing to someone that when I was pregnant with my third child, I was on the floor. I crawled to do things. So the rest of the year I'm just going to be grateful. And I just want to share this because this summit is for leaders and aspiring leaders. And what I said was, I am coming in to confirm my thoughts. So I have just manifested what I said to myself, my aim, why I am coming to join the summit. So all that you have said, it's just resonated with me. And that's why I just want to say thank you and also encourage others. It's hard. I'm not sitting here to say, oh, it's easy. No, 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 no. It's not easy. I lost my mom about 16 years ago and I'm still grieving. And this month is her birth month. That's why I said, no, I'm letting it go completely. Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. God bless
Thank
you.
you so much. Amen. I'm glad it resonated deeply with you. And indeed, gratitude should be our watchword. Gratitude should be a thing for us to know that even if it gets worse, it has been better and will be better. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Yes, Mr. Sam.
All right, thank you, several. Another question hand is raised. Joyce, can you just ask the question or the concept?
Good afternoon, everyone. From my end is afternoon.
Good
Afternoon,
afternoon.
Okay. My question Okay. First, ma, to say thank you for this presentation. I really thought it was as if you were just speaking. I will put it into practice. If there are slides to this that can be sent to us, so that was what I wanted to ask.
I missed your question. Could you please say it again?
Okay, no, ma, I wanted to know if there are slides to your presentation that can be sent to us to go through them.
Yeah, there are. Like I said, I wanted to connect with my laptop so I could share my screen, but network proved impossible. So after this, I will send my slides for you all to use.
Thank you, ma. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joyce, and thank you, Stella. Sincerely, I have questions before now, but when you said some practice you take in your marriage, those questions, so I would say thank you, Stella, for being honest with us and for the confirmation talk. But quickly, my director just signed in. I know she may have an experience, but may not be able to on our video. I don't know if she's here. So that you can, okay, someone is great also. But for them, please. Director, why? I don't know. You can. Okay, since she's not here again. Biggie, your hand is raised. I think that will be the last question before we allow Stella to go. Biggie, your question, please. How are you, Biggie?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Can I ask my question now?
Yes, please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for this insightful session. My question is, I'm a special needs therapist. So there is this boy I'm his manager. So he's autistic, 12 years old. So last day we went home and we recorded a lot of progress. But when he got back home, got back from home and we resumed this, I noticed that he became so aggressive, and he doesn't talk negatively to before. But now, I think due to how they handle him at home, he cannot communicate like verbally. He can communicate verbally, but to express his emotion. I left my laptop one day, and before I came back, the book I put beside the laptop, he wrote inside the book that you are a whole 12-year-old boy, you cannot do this by yourself. You cannot amount to anything. You are behaving like a baby. So anytime I want to do any therapy for him, that is what this boy keeps saying. That is what the way they maltreated him. So it's affecting my therapy. So I have tried all possible ways, write positive words on the paper for him to read, encourage him, but it's not working effectively. So I think the boy is emotionally right. So I
Yeah.
I don't know the strategy to use again. So I'm kind of stranded because the boy is not like that before. He has really improved. But now he has regret. So all the skills he had before he went home, he has lost it totally. So I want to ask now about that. What strategy, what solution I prefer to that issue right now? So thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for your question, and I appreciate you, you know, feeling that I could help. Now, one thing about the counseling or the psychotherapy job is this: it's always joy when we see our clients making progress. But we also have to understand that relapse is part of the recovery journey. Relapse is part of the recovery journey. And why is relapse part of the recovery journey? Because whether you like it or yes, some clients will have a certain degree of exposure to the triggers that cause them the traumatic experience later on in life. And so, what I would want you to do, or what I feel like you should do that I think would help your relationship with him, is I'll ask the question back to you. What are the things that during the period of you working with him, what are the things that you notice that he said were his resource? Basically, a client's resource are the things that the client does that calms them when they are faced with stressful experiences. Has he at any point shared you his personal resource? It could be maybe art, it could be nature bathing, like, watching the trees and standing in the breeze, or writing. What are the things that he said calms him down during stressful situations? I think if you can let me know, I think I can be able to craft out a technique for you to use.
Vicky, that question is directed to you, Vicky.
Sorry, I missed that. Please, can you please recap? I didn't
Okay.
know.
Hello.
Okay. Okay. Where did you? What's the last thing you heard? So I can start from there.
You mentioned that what are those things I used to do for you? So that's I didn't get that.
Okay. So I mentioned in all your time of working with him, did he mention his resource, what we call a client resource in therapy? Did he mention the things that he uses to cope? They can be unhealthy things and they could be healthy things. So let's focus on the healthy resources. Did he mention healthy resources that he uses to cope? It could be singing, dancing. What are those things that he mentioned, that you noted, that he said were his healthy resources?
Okay. So I noticed I used to regulate himself by working on his laptop. If I give him a laptop now, he will go to maybe Microsoft Word, design some things on it, write Word. He use laptop to regulate himself. But at the long run, I retrieved that from him because I noticed that he used to navigate other sites that is not very good. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that is what described him as well of that, and they were unable to manage him. So that's why they didn't and the parent the issue is now that even the parent didn't accept that thing. So whenever I'm even trying to tell them that your boy is autistic, they see that autism like a thing. And I've tried and tried to let them know that autism is not a disease. So, and this boy is unique in doing, and that is the cause of them not knowing how to manage that boy very well.
Mm-hmm.
So, that what I noticed is
Yeah.
used to tend to calm himself and he loves it. So those are those things that
Okay.
I
Okay. All right. So, thank you for giving me a little more background. So it means he said when he's working on the laptop, he gets calm and stuff, but the parents do not have an understanding on how to manage um his special case. So this is what I'll tell you. If his parents are very intentional with your child, you will need to have a session with them. Like we call in therapy, basically training or caring for the carer so that the carer can take care of the person who is in therapy. The parents, I don't know how you're going to do it. I don't know your relationship with the parents or if they contacted you to journey with your child, but you will need to split out a session where in that session you will do what we call psychoeducation. Psychoeducation is not just talk with the parents, but in your quality as an expert in that field, tell the parents the things that you know will be the best for them to do and learn in all patience that is going to improve the child's condition. And truly, if they're intentional with the awareness of your child, they will take it one step or another and reach out to you when they find difficulties. Now, to the boy you're working with, find his healthy outlet. Find his healthy outlet. If he loves being in nature, one of these days during your therapy sessions, don't do it in an enclosed environment. That's if in case he loves nature. Take him and do it out in nature. No matter how pain or how triggered he has been, and despite him experiencing the relapse, he's going to loosen up a little bit. Now, what he will need you to do, or what I think I'll need you to do, is find healthy outlets so that you can regain his trust. Because when you regain his trust, he would be able to tell you, not necessarily directly, sometimes indirectly, the things he's experiencing, and you can use the mindfulness meditation approach with him. That's if he's comfortable closing his eyes. But if he has a big creative mind or imagination, you can still do the mindfulness meditation with him, even when his eyes are open. So in essence, I'm suggesting two things: psychoeducation for the parents and using the healthy tools and strategies that you know this client of yours loves to use. Use it with him non-judgmentally as he's attending to the profession, with more love, with more empathy, and just let him be. Don't try to push him. Don't try to see progress now. Just take him like you are beginning the sessions all over again. And trust me, I believe you are going to start seeing progress again. So see it as you are starting all over, not you are building from progress that was lost.
Okay, okay. Thanks so much. I really, I understand.
All right, thank you, Stella. Thank you
You're
so much
welcome.
for your thank you. I know we're speaking much of the time. But quickly, my director is around now. He wanted to say something. So while you're listening,
Okay.
stop my mic.
Hello, everyone. Hello, can you all see me? Hello. Hello, everybody. Can you all see me? Or I'm
Yes,
the only one?
please.
Great, great, great. Thank you, everybody. I had to find a way to come today to see Madam Stella. Thank you so much, ma'am. You have been the person I have been interacting with for months now. Yeah, about, and I truly appreciate seeing you. I
Yeah.
I was on transit. Somehow I had something I couldn't avoid. So, but I still said I would come in and see you and see everybody and know how everyone is doing. So just something brief because I can see we are out of time. We usually do this 45 1 hour, but Madam Stella was gracious to us to give us more than that. But we usually do this between 45 to 1 hour. So thank you once more. Thank you everybody for staying tuned till this time. Just to give you a short brief introduction and understanding about what we do and what I am doing. Firstly, I am a person with a disability. So if you have a disability, you are not here to hear people with just pregnancy stories like Madam Stella, which is a very good story to tell. I can I cannot relate with pregnancy stories. Let me start with that. But I can relate with hurt and I can relate with pain and I can relate with every form of please, if you are muted, can you mute? I was thinking that Mr. Samuel muted everybody prior to this time. My thoughts, I was thinking Mr. Samuel muted everybody. So if he didn't, Mr. Nelson, you could help us. So I can relate with so many things that have to do with hurt, pain. I'm a person with disability. I was born this way with the right arm. All through my life, I've lived like this with disability. I've gone through any challenge you have because I'm seeing new faces here, new people. And any challenge you have, you have a disability and you're here, you're in a good place because Madam Stella have helped us to talk about recovery, talk about pain, talk about forgiveness, talk about so many things that I even had to implement myself, and I didn't do that with any therapy. I don't know how I got to do so many of those things just to get to this healing state I am right now. So if you are getting all of this in a package, it's a very wonderful package because in my time, I got some of them bit by bit, but just want to say something that if you think what Madam Stella has said does not align to you, then you may be very far from healing or you may be very far from really getting to behold yourself because many of these things she said, I could relate with it 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, how I took step by step in doing so many of these things. And that's how I got to where I am right now. So it's very, very important. It's very, very wonderful. And one of the things LBD likes to do is to help people with leadership and tech skills. But before we help you with leadership, we will need to work on your mind, because it all starts from the mind. Like Madam Stella said, if you cannot work on your mind, you can't take hold of your life. You can't take hold of your destiny. I was listening to her little by little when I was still on transit, and she talked about how even her husband was affirming her, but she wasn't affirming herself. And those are the things that people with disability like myself face. I came here with practical questions, just to wrap up. I came here with practical questions, not for Madam Stella, but for you and I who have a disability. And it's very, very simple, very, very simple, because it relates to you and I. Is there anyone among you who had your disability by your mistake? Like you mistake. They told you not to enter that car. You entered the car, and somehow along the line, the car had an accident, and your leg was amputated, your hand was amputated. Then if that is you, that's one case. Is there anyone among us here who have a disability? Because I'm relating with disability here now. Is there anyone among us who have disabilities, and we have carers, and our carers are trying the little they can, but we are sometimes, when we are angry, we shout at our carer. We are angry at our carer because we are angry at ourselves. We are angry at our carer. We have probably a mother who is still caring for us, and we are having paralysis. We have a father, we have somebody, and we're angry at our carer. This may just be a place you may just want to be, because sometimes our carers are not perfect, but we too are also not perfect. You can relate with Madam Stella's story. When she was talking, I was just thinking of many, many things. Is there anyone with a disability here who hates your disability? Like you hate yourself. But I'm still like, I can't see you anymore. I was liking your face. You hate yourself. I'm seeing somebody else. Nelson, can you help me spotlight me and take off any other person that is not spotlighted? Thank you. If you can help me do that for recording sake. Spotlight only me. Take off any other person who's not spotlighted. Thank you. Is there anyone with a disability who you hate your disability? You just wish you are somebody else and not you. Well, I can't tell you that I am always happy being a person with a disability. I can't tell you I don't have sad times, but I don't hate my disability. That's a point somebody needs to get to. I don't hate myself having amputation. And if you still hate yourself, then maybe you need to listen to this clip again, get 1 or 2 tips, and don't say, oh, it's not me, she's not talking to me, she doesn't know what I feel, she doesn't know who I am, she doesn't know how long I've lived with my disability. I've lived with my disability all my life. So I have lived long enough to know that I might be like this for a very long time, if not forever. So I came with 3 or 4 questions about people with disability. Is there anybody with a disability who hates your disability? Is there anybody with a disability who have a carer? And anytime you don't feel happy, you lash it on your carer. And even your carer to lash it on you too. They lash it on you that if not that you have a disability, my life would have moved forward. Is there anybody with a disability here who you caused your own, you feel rather you caused your own disability? I handled a case like that earlier this year, where a young girl of 21 years old, was traveling in January to a state in a country, my country, and somehow everybody died except him, and he had to be amputated. And he begged his relative not to allow the doctor to amputate him, but they gave him a sleeping pill, and before he woke up, voila, he was amputated, and he wished for death. I had to come into that scenario this year just to make him eat his first meal after 3 days. And after that, we went into therapy, and we are still working on this young 21 years old guy. So these are many things we see. These are many scars we see, but we have to heal and we have to move forward. So thank you once more, Madam Stella. God bless you. And if there's anybody that have more questions, I just left you with questions for you guys to think, and we're already out of time. We can't do much. And go back and take 1 or 2 tips that we have here that you can use to gather strength. As Madam Stella said, healing, let me put it my own way, healing is not straight road. It can be bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. And you may need to forgive somebody, you may need to forgive yourself. And she talked about the importance of healing and many other things. You may need to forgive God if you are somebody who is of the faith. If you believe in the faith, fine, you may need to. If you don't believe in the faith, it's fine. You may need to forgive whatever thing that caused it, or whatever, how you saw yourself. And at a point, I was actually angry at my mom for actually bringing me to this world. Yes, I was very angry at my mom at a point. I was like, what's your problem? Like, why didn't you just stop? Because she actually had an understanding that I was going to come out with a disability. She knew, she had an understanding that I was going to come out with a disability, but she still gave birth to me. She still gave birth to me. So why didn't you just flush it and just move on? But here I am with you. God bless you. Thank you so much, Madam Stella. And over to you, Mr. Nelson. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm done.
Thank you for all you do for us in LBD, for everybody in us. So, Madam Stella, thank you so much. I don't know if it's here. Can we show our emoji closing right away? So someone asked a question earlier, when is our next session? So,
sorry, we can't see you, Nelson. And we can't see you, Madam Stella. If you want to show emoji, we would like to see Madam Stella or anybody. Can you take me off? Take me off and spotlight Madam Stella.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me with that?
Thank you all so much.
I'm not sure Sam is here. I'm not sure Sam is here. But let's just wrap it up. I'm not sure Sam is still here.
There's a hand up. I can see Lady Veronica's hand up.
All right. Okay.
Please, I can't hear you, admin.
Okay. Sorry about that. I was saying let's just show our love to Ms. Stella with our emojis. So let's react why we exist. Please, before we go, let's pick family picture.
Okay.
All right. So everybody, if it's possible, turn on your camera while you take this picture. Please.
Admin, please. Lady Veronica's hand was up for a long time. I don't know whether you didn't see her. I think she has a question.
But we have some time, but we'll take the question maybe later after Veronica or the foundation. I saw something like foundation.
Sorry, I'm very sorry. Admin, let's just take her. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry, sir. He's actually my boss here. So everybody's, let's just take her. Ma'am, Madam Veronica, or yes, please 1 minute because of time.
Please. Please can go ahead with the
All right, good afternoon. And I just want to say a very big thank you to LED and Lady Stella for this very insightful session. Is a question I want to ask. Like she rightly said, one of the reasons why we form limiting beliefs, they can be assigned to external factors like the things that people say to us, and then we self-sabotage. I once asked a question in a session, is there a time that you need to burn those bridges? I was told there's never a time to burn bridges. So whilst you are trying to heal, and then people keep on saying these negative things to you, what do you do? How do you block all this noise for you to be able to heal? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Veronica, for your question. So you mentioned that there are times when you're trying to heal and then people say you don't burn bridges. Now there's something called cultural competence and multiculturalism when it comes to therapy. And this simply means, to break down everything I'm saying, that different cultures have different beliefs about things. But in therapy, though we respect different cultures and different belief systems, we also do understand the need for everybody to experience wellness. And so that's why there's something we call in therapy healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries are not walls. Like the name says, they are boundaries. And if we were growing up, remember before the advent of all um these concrete pillars, there was um people used to plant trees on their boundaries. They used to plant these flowers that would intercoil into themselves, and sometimes stubborn children will pass through those flower beds. And when the owner of the compound is coming, they'll pass through the flower beds and go out. So those are boundaries. They are breathable. Boundaries are breathable. But basically, what is a healthy boundary? A healthy boundary simply means a strategy or a principle that is put in place by a person to teach others how to treat them. I'll say it again. A healthy boundary is a strategy or a principle put in place to teach people how to treat you. Like it says, healthy boundary. And so when people keep hurting you and you cannot have a physical boundary, like you are no longer in the
Wow.
same place with them, there are other strategies that you can use. One is a time boundary. Time boundary. There are people that are wasters of your time. And each time this person calls you on phone, you know pretty well that they're going to waste your time. But because you want to be the person that is the gentlest person, you rather be the one that is hurt while they are happy. And I'll leave you with this simple question. In keeping the peace, whose peace is being lost? In keeping the peace, whose peace is being lost? And if you check through, you put one and two together, and it's your peace that is being lost, it simply means you lack healthy boundaries, which simply means you don't know how to treat you. So you've taught others to treat you the way you see yourself. But when you put on healthy boundaries like emotional boundary, physical boundary, financial boundary, yes, financial boundary. There are people that will feel entitled, and you are afraid to tell them that they are entitled, and you go out of your budget to please them instead of telling them that they're entitled or that you're not going to give them the money because you are afraid to be called as selfish or wicked. You constantly displease yourself to please them. You lack a financial healthy boundary. So in keeping the peace, whose peace is being lost? And that's why your question came, because you are keeping the peace and your peace is being lost. So set a healthy boundary today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Stella. Thank you, Ms. Veronica. I guess you answered the question. I saw your reaction on the chat box.
Yes,
So
very
thank you,
well.
everyone. We may not have time, thank you. We may not have time to do all that things because we are out of time. Quickly, we'll just take a picture. And you can turn on your camera of the slide, but you can't. Okay. So just take 1, 2, 3 pictures and everybody from. Okay. One more, please. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being present today. So our next session is next week, Saturday, same time, 12 noon. So if you communicated to us, some of us who have not joined the Telegram group, so some of us who have not joined the Telegram group, so I encourage the person that you join so we can have easy access and communication within ourselves. So thank you, everybody. Ryan and Israeli and for those in Nigeria, Ghana, and Cameroon. Thank you for joining, and we will see each other on Saturday next week. But before then, we'll communicate with ourselves via Telegram and our email. So thank you for joining today. You have a good week and enjoy your next week. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Stella. Thank you. All right. See you next week, everybody.